One Liberty Cent. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel today. We're diving into something that might surprise you. The 1965 Lincoln penny. Yep, you heard that right. A small, seemingly ordinary coin that's been circulating for decades. But it holds secrets that could make you a lot of money if you know what to look for. Grab your magnifying glass and let's explore why this penny could be worth way more than just 1 cent. In fact, it might be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on its condition and the rare features it holds. Ready to learn about one of the most underrated coins in American history? Stick around, you won't want to miss this. Let's kick things off with a bit of history. The 1965 Lincoln penny is part of the United States' ongoing tradition of honoring Abraham Lincoln with his image on the cent. However, this particular year is notable for a few reasons, some of which might surprise you. In 1965, the U.S. government was facing a major shift in the way they produced coins. With rising costs of copper, the mint began experimenting with different compositions. This led to the phasing out of the copper-heavy pennies in favor of a more cost-effective copper-plated zinc version. So, the 1965 penny, while still predominantly copper, marked the end of an era for the classic, heavier, all-copper pennies. If you've ever seen or held a 1965 Lincoln penny, you know it's slightly lighter and a little different in appearance compared to older versions. Now, let's talk about its value. So, what is a typical 1965 penny worth? In general, a typical 1965 penny is worth, well, exactly 1 cent. However, here's where things get really interesting. Rare and high-quality versions of this penny can be worth a lot more. So, how can a penny that's mostly forgotten in coin jars end up being worth hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars? First, we need to understand the term mint condition. A coin in mint condition is one that looks like it just came out of the factory, with sharp details, no wear, and no discoloration. These high-quality specimens of the 1965 Lincoln penny can fetch far more than their face value, even when they're only in slightly above average condition. But don't just assume every 1965 penny is valuable. Only a small percentage will meet these high standards. In fact, it's not just the regular 1965 pennies that have potential value, it's the rare varieties, errors, and uncirculated versions that are truly sought after by collectors. Let's break this down. One of the most exciting aspects of the 1965 Lincoln penny is that some have errors that make them extremely valuable. Some 1965 pennies were struck with errors, such as a doubled die variety. This means that during the minting process, the die used to imprint the design on the coin wasn't aligned properly, causing the image to appear doubled. These doubled dies can be extremely valuable to collectors who are always on the lookout for mistakes like this. A 1965 penny with a double die error could be worth anywhere from a few dollars to hundreds, depending on the severity and how rare the mistake is. To identify a doubled die, you'll need a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to closely inspect the coin. Pay special attention to the date and the lettering, especially on the word Liberty and In God We Trust. If the lettering looks blurry, doubled, or out of alignment, you might have an error coin on your hands. Now, let's not forget about the reverse of the 1965 penny. It still features the famous Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. While the memorial itself isn't likely to be the reason your penny is valuable, the condition of the coin and any rare errors are what matter most here. If you happen to find a 1965 penny in near perfect or uncirculated condition, especially if it's error-free, it can still be worth more than 1 cent. How much more? Well, an uncirculated 1965 penny in top-tier condition can fetch upwards of $10 to $20. But that's just the start. If you're lucky enough to find one with a significant error or some other unique feature, it can be worth hundreds, and even thousands, of dollars. In fact, rare Lincoln pennies, especially those from the 1960s, are highly prized at coin auctions. Some collectors are willing to pay massive premiums for specific years or varieties of coins, and the 1965 penny is no exception. The key is understanding what makes a particular coin valuable and knowing when to sell. In some cases, a penny might sit in a jar for years unnoticed, only to be sold later for an enormous profit. So, how can you figure out if your 1965 penny is worth something more than its face value? The first step is to carefully examine its condition and look for any signs of wear. A penny that has been heavily circulated, with visible scratches and dents, is unlikely to be worth much more than a few cents. But a penny that's in mint condition, with little to no wear and no discoloration, can be worth a lot more. One of the best things you can do to get an accurate idea of what your coin is worth is to have it graded by a professional coin grading service. Services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation (NGC) or the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) can assess the condition and authenticity of your 1965 penny, which can dramatically increase its value. And remember, the value of a coin is also determined by the market. Just like stocks, the demand for certain coins can fluctuate. To get an accurate value, it's always a good idea to check recent sales of similar coins on auction sites or through reputable dealers. Keep in mind that the best time to sell your coin might be when the market is hot and collectors are clamoring for that specific year or era. So, the 1965 Lincoln penny may seem like just another old coin, but it has the potential to be worth much more than its face value if you know what to look for. Whether it's in pristine condition, carries a rare error, or has some other unique characteristic, there's always the chance it could be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. Who knows? That jar of old pennies sitting on your shelf might just hold the treasure you've been waiting for. So, take a closer look at your coins, and remember that a little knowledge and a careful eye could turn a humble penny into a valuable collectible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an exciting episode. Have you ever found a rare or valuable coin? Share your story in the comments below. Until next time, happy coin hunting!